My guest tonight is Sgt.Akata Pore. The Daniel, sometimes people do not add it to your name. Has it changed? Do you still use Daniel, sir?
Yes, I still use Daniel, but my name is Sgt.Akata Pore.
Let's start from you.
Okay.
Where were you born? Where did you grow up?
I was born in 1955, December. By calculation, it should be 22nd,
Okay.
because 3 days before Christmas, my dad told me in Joabin, New Joabin, Akufo-Addo.
Oh, Akufo-Addo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how was growing up like for young Akata Pore?
It was very difficult. I remember it clearly. Very happy. Yeah, a lot of fun with my brother, sister, and my parents and friends. But it was a very poor environment. I was born basically in a shack.
Really?
Yeah.
In Akufo-Addo?
Yeah, new job in a farm, a hut. My father was a cocoa farmer by day, that kind of thing. He set traps. He tap and wine. Yeah.
When did you take the decision to be a military man?
Okay, so let's wind the clock forward. I lose my mom when I was about 9, 10, 6, 10, 11, that kind of age. And this time we're in Winchi. And my dad decided to move to Ketampo. And then, things moved on, and I had to go to Tamale and stay with my uncle in the police barracks. And I saw him wear his uniform, very clean, very neat, and it attracted me. And then I went to United Middle, near the hospital in Tamale, if you know the place. And I sat my common entrance there and went to United Middle, went to Ghana College. And then, after the first year, second year, the first term, Christmas, when I got back home, my father had a friend, a cocoa buyer, the clerks who buy the cocoa. Yeah. So he told my dad that they were recruiting, boys into the boys' company, junior leaders' company, and that he thought I would be a good fit because I was too stubborn. It's true, when I was young, I was very hot-headed. So with the encouragement of it's called Mr. Weir, I remember the name very well. This is Ketampo, near the hospital, near the post office. That's where the buying center was. So my dad yielded, and then I went to Sunyani and sat the entrance exam, did all the tests, and then luckily I got through, and I went to boss company. So that's how I got into army.
Oh, that's interesting.
And before that, my uncle, my dad and my uncle, they went to the Second World War. So that also,
You went to the Second World War?
Yeah.
Okay.
For you to go into boss company, your parents had to have been in the army.
What was boys' company there?
Okay, it's a junior leaders company. It was, recruiting youngsters from boys mainly, only from the age of 14 and a half to 17 and a half, and you train for 3 years, you see. So you build some kind of bond.
Okay.
At that age, you are forming some camaraderie, amongst yourselves. Yeah, it's very important. So you stay there for 3 years, and you love each other. You just become bonded. So you come out, and then so we call each other boy. So that's how it is. And I passed out and came to 5 years. First, they took me to Michel camp, and then within a month, they brought me to 5 years.
Oh, so the boys' company was a pre-military training?
Yes, it was a kind of academy.
For teens? For
teens, yeah.
Okay.
It was a kind of academy, yes. Yeah.
And you went through that, then did you then become a military person automatically?
Yes, when you finish, okay, whilst I was there, I would say luckily, but a little bit of hard work. I won a lot of the prizes when we were graduating.
Okay.
So the army commander actually promoted me on the day of the passing out and made me a corporal.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the first time that it's happened there. And recently, one general rang me from Kumasi. He had gone to the museum in Kumasi and seen the pictures and, you know, the
You were
story
in
there.
those pictures about
Yeah.
when you were made a corporal.
Yes. So he rang me and said, "Oh, I've seen your profile here." And it was very funny. So because I thought he knew, but apparently not. So you know, it was nice. So I came out as a corporal, you know, at 18. So
Age 18.
at 18. So
I see.
basically, I was an adult, a leader, right from day one in the army, and that is what made me noticed.
Okay.
Yeah, in the barracks. You see, so there was this very young guy, short also, you know.
That's interesting, yeah.
And he happened to be good and that kind of thing. So it kind of, you know, it was interesting. So that's how I started my life in the army.
It has been said that you refused to be an officer, even though you could be an officer. And just because you wanted to identify with the other ranks, you insisted on not being an officer. How true is that?
Okay, by my nature, I'm very modest, you see. And to be honest with you, I've got friends who are generals. I've got cousins and so on. But you know what? And if you like, I'm above them. Because, you know, some of them I have to recruit and things like that. But, you know, I don't feel comfortable in their company. You know, I'm so modest that this ceremony around life is not for me.
Okay.
You see, yeah, that is the honest truth. And some of my colleagues, they are very good friends. I call them even brothers. They can see that I don't feel comfortable in their company. It's not because I don't like them. It's just that when I'm with them, the reverence shown and so on, I find it difficult to cope with. You see, I would carry my own chair. I will carry anything that and yet, when you do that, you see all these young people, they will run and say, "No, you can't do that." You see, and I don't feel okay, you see, and with that. So that's how it was. So yes, I could have become an officer because I had all the qualifications to become an officer, but it didn't sit right with me. I just wanted to study more. And you see, the other reason why I did not go to the academy and chose to go to university was because when I was in the secondary school, I told you I went to Ghana College. My mates by now were in the university and they were moving on. So we'll meet holidays and that kind of thing.
Okay.
And I kind of felt that I was okay with them. I was, you know, they were not better than me when we were in secondary school. And now they were going to graduate and that kind of thing. So I also wanted to go back to university. So I chose to go to university instead of going into the army as an officer, going to become a short commissioned officer.
It's interesting. How did you then meet former President Rawlings?
Okay. So whilst I was in 5BN, I told you that I came to 5BN, and then I went on course in maths. And when you do well, they recruit you to become an instructor there. So I went there as an instructor in maths before June 4th. But I knew everything, all the plotting and so on about it because I was being informed. But I wasn't. So on the morning, in fact, it was meant to happen several times before June 4th.
So June 4th was planned for previous ones?
Yes.
Was it May 15th?
No. You see, okay, May 15th, when it happened, people thought that was what we were planning. And then we realized that no, it wasn't. You see, it was somebody else had also done something, and it turned out to be Rawlins's one. So it had nothing to do with June 4th. So that plot was still going on. You see, the June 4th plot was still going on. What 15th May did was to validate our idea of trying to do something. And for 5BN, if I must tell you this, is that when Achampong was overthrown, we were not happy in 5BN. But Achampong was very popular amongst us. So by plotting to get rid of Akufo, we thought we were trying to restore Achampong in some way.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, that is the truth of the matter. You can ask the core 5BN people, they'll tell you.
Like who specifically?
Oh, you know, Tasiri is not well known. Makatenga, I think it's passed on. Most of the people have passed on. Banchamfo, you can ask Banchamfo. Okay, yeah, Banchamfo is still around, and the others are abroad. Skido and others, they are all abroad now in America. You see, but that was the truth of the matter. You see, so that
by trying to remove the SMC2,
yes,
you were thinking you
are punishing them for overthrowing
SMC1, yes, which is really
our
Achampong period.
Yes, our father.
Oh, you call Achampong your father?
Yes.
Okay.
Because he was nice to us. His wife on Saturdays will actually stir the fufu and cook in his house for us.
Oh, I see.
We escorted his children to school. Mm-hmm. They were very modest, a very modest family, and we liked them. Yes. You see, he had his a bit, you know, here and there, but generally, he was good to us.
But mostly, he's portrayed as this military leader who was into cronyism, who was a bit of the... I mean, a lot more negative things are associated with his name than positive, if one will call it.
That is because when you don't have an alternative narrative,
okay,
when you have a certain narrative and you don't have a... Because we was going to campaign for Achampong to tell his story.
Okay, that's interesting.
You see, and look, Achampong, Operation Feed Yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, he brought it. Yen Tuya. Mm-hmm. He was the one who brought it. He's the only leader since Kwame Nkrumah who has stood up to imperialism and colonialism. He's the only one. Who else? And maybe at Tamils, when he stood up against them about this homosexuality thing. Apart from that, everybody has been, you know, not brave enough to take on the colonial masters. You see, so Achampong, apart from Kwame Nkrumah, in my books, is the best leader that we've ever had.
Okay, so you're saying that the workings towards June 4th was primarily some form of revenge for Achampong?
Yes, in a way, yeah. There was that. Okay, people were hungry, yeah, and they've been hungry for a long time, including under Achampong's regime. But his overthrow was an affront, you see, to us. You see, and they came from a different unit.
But union government failed.
Well, is union government not a good idea?
Was it ever a good idea?
It was always a good idea.
Really?
Yes.
That we have a place in our governance for military people, unelected by anybody in the Republic. What kind of democracy would that ensure?
No, you see, the concept may have not been, may have been different from what you are portraying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't see it that way. I saw it as a government in which everybody, yeah, no party affiliation, would be involved if you were good.
Really?
Yes.
Not because you just wanted military people in government?
No, it wasn't. Because
that military alongside civilian government?
You see, in Egypt, for example, you have the representation of the military. What's wrong with having interest groups representing parliament? You tell me, what's wrong with that? Here you have...
But they should just go and contest election like any other person and go parliament. Why should they necessarily
it's not working.
have automatic rules in
You've seen what is it working?
Parliament?
People are buying votes openly, and you are saying that it's working.
Oh, you mean the process of getting people into parliament?
So if the army has to choose one rep to represent them, the person is not going to go around campaigning and giving them money.
But why should that person necessarily be in parliament? Why? There's a Ministry of Defense There's a Ministry of Interior. Security services are actually adequately represented.
Yeah.
There's a National Security Council.
Yeah.
That's the best of our men there. Why should the men in uniform be sitting in the people's legislature?
Because they are also a people. They are part of the population.
Yeah.
You get it? Just because you are in the uniform does not mean that you are not a citizen.
Okay.
You see, so that is a special interest group.
Okay.
You get it? Like farmers. I'm not saying only the army.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I'm not saying that only the army.
So you think people misconstrue the idea of a union government?
If including me, we were all against Achampong.
Oh, really?
With the union government, I mean the union government, because the narrative was that it was dictatorship.
Fashioned in a different way, re-looked at in a different way, and remodeled dictatorship.
Look, how are we going to get a continental union government for Africa if you don't have a union government within your country? If you have this partisanship that you have here, two parties, slugging it out, and messing everybody up. Basically, that's what it is. Everybody is being messed up by these two party political system.
But the solution is not to say introduce military and they'll fix it.
No.
We have seen military rule before.
No.
It was not a particularly sanitized period in our history.
Raymond, please, let's be clear. I'm not advocating for a coup d'etat.
No, I'm not saying so.
I'm not asking for the military to continue to rule. Yeah, we've seen that and it didn't work, like at Rawlins, okay. But the union government...
it's not only Rawlins, so that did not work. The other military governments, it don't work.
No, Rawlins was the one who lasted
a longer period, okay, no problem.
And if military governments worked, we would have seen it. Because you had 20 years, it didn't work. But you see, you can argue that Rawlins' regime was not a military one. How many soldiers were actually there?
You mean which one? The PNDC?
Throughout. You tell me. You are a journalist. You tell me. How many soldiers, apart from... even Kwashikan was not a member of government.
As you members of the PNDC,
well,
you're asking whether or not there were no soldiers in your PNDC.
PNDC 1 is different from PNDC 2. PNDC 1 lasted 4 or 5 months.
Are you talking about AFRC?
No, PNDC.
PNDC 1?
Yeah.
Which time, which period?
I'm talking of the night of 31st December to around March, when IMF came in.
Oh, okay. So that's why you call PNDC 1?
Yes. PNDC 1. When I was there, when Chris Atim was there, Amatekwe was there. After that, you just look at the whole government. Even that PNDC 1, on the council, the soldiers were myself, Rawlins, and the CDS. Everybody else was a civilian. All the kingmakers, all the power brokers, and all the shakers and movers, the kitchen cabinet, were all civilians.
But it was still an unconstitutional government.
But no, you are saying that military
people being
and I'm saying that Achampong's government was military.
Yeah.
You had commissioners, soldiers. That's different.
That's the same with that of Akufo.
Yeah, Akufo, yeah. The SMC. Yeah, that's different. But with Rawlins, predominantly civilians, his friends, his family members. Basically, that's what it was.
No, I get that point. The question we're on was whether or not a union government of a sort would have been a better solution.
Yeah, with a constitution around it. I'm not talking of, let's say, someone like Rawlins by fiat appointing people into certain... That's dictatorship. So
you're saying that if a constitutionally drafted system says union government,
yes,
it means that various sections
no parties, you don't have the two political parties.
Okay.
You don't have the parties run the country. But if you are good, we find a scheme to make sure that you are part of it. Like
and you help.
That is what the union government was about.
And you're convinced that that would not also lead to cronyism, would not lead to all the ills of our government.
You see, we had a Politburo in the Soviet Union and this thing. And it's true, every human institution will have a problem.
Okay.
But I believe that it will be better than what we have now. Because if under the union government there is you have this crisis. For me, I think that it will be more of mistakes rather than by design. This system that we have now is by design. People go out of their way to flout the law, the very law that they are supposed to follow. It's not followed, you know.
I get your point. I was asking you about how you met Rollins and how you became an active member of the PNDC at the time.
Okay. So what happened was June 4th happens, and then when it's settled, I look, we don't want the repetition of this. This is how it started. So I'm going to write a demand, a note, you know, kind of this thing.
A list of demands.
Yeah, it's still there. That paper is still there. One major showed it to me. That Rollins gave it to him, you know. So he's got it. If you want, I can arrange for you to speak with him and then have a copy. So I wrote it. This was 79, and I spread it. I distributed in Arakan. I went to workshop. I went to field engineers, and I distributed it. And basically, it was saying that the other ranks should be given some, you know, some rights, you know. And I also said that the GD officers, general duty officers, when they retire from the army, you see most of them being drunkards, watchmen, and basically, if you like, disgracing the image of the army. So what should happen is that about 3 years before their retirement, they should be sent on some courses so that they learn some skills which they can use in their civilian life. So that when they come out, they are not, you know, drunkards and, you know, basically that was the image of the retired GD soldier. So this went, if you like, today you call it viral.
Okay, interesting.
So it got to the AFRC, and, you know, I was hauled in, and, you know, basically it was a trial for kind of a coup d'etat.
You?
Yeah, this is 79. You had Sowu there, you had, I believe Sgt.Akata was there, and Sgt.Akata, they were all, the whole room was packed, the whole AFRC were there. Sgt.Akata, Wachijan, and all of them, they were all there. They marched me in with two other colleagues of mine. But they quickly realized that they had nothing to do with it, and they dismissed it. So it was me. So they asked me, and I said, look, you said, just like Akufo-Addo said, be a citizen. That was what they also said, that we should be open, we should not keep quiet, we should say whatever, we should tell them. So I said, that was my way of, you know, passing a message to you. And they said, but why didn't you give it to us and you were spreading it? And I said, well, if everybody is telling you, you might take it more seriously. So after a while, they gave me a very serious warning. And then they said that was my last, listen, they marched me out and brought me back in, and then appointed me to one of their committees.
I see. So
they marched me out.
You have moved from being the guy who was going to do a coup d'etat to now become a
member of their Asset Distribution Committee.
Asset Distribution Committee. Okay.
So immediately, so it was very funny that day. When I came out, I realized that there were so many people that had packed around 5 p.m. because they thought it was a firing squad.
Execution of
again, you know. And, you know, I didn't know what to think about it. But people were saying that, look, if they had tried to get rid of you, we would have protested. That's what they said. Whether it would have happened or not, I don't know. So it was very interesting. You know, it was drama.
I see.
So that's how I got Rollins eye to eye. Yeah. So when I then left, even though they appointed me to Access Distribution Committee, I left and went to Cape Coast. Because it was that time.
To school?
To school. That was my first year. This is 79. So I went, and then when I came back, my wife told me that, oh, this is December. Someone has come here and is looking for you. And he says, Rollins sent him. This is December of 79.
Okay.
Lima had gotten the power for 3 months.
Office, yes.
So I just ignored the whole thing. And anytime I come back, I'll have the same message. For more than a year. Then one day, Zaya Yebo comes to Cape Coast, or I went to Legon, I've forgotten. Then he said, look, there's someone called Chris Atim who wants to see you. It's Rollins who has sent him to come and talk to you about something, you see. So I said, okay, who is Chris Atim? I didn't know him. He said, oh, he's a progressive guy, he's in tech and that kind of thing. And now he's working at, there was an institution, an architectural institution around where this thing now is the hotel, that big hotel, getting to Tema Station. Okay. Around there, that's where the architectural office is there. Was. So I said, okay, but I went back to Cape Coast. So this went on for a few more months, and then I met Chris. And then he told me that Jerry Rollins had told him about me and blah, blah, blah. And, this was the project. And they thought that I could, play a role. And Jerry wants to talk to me. And the rest is history. You
mean the planning towards it first?
Yes.
Oh, I see. So, I mean, the way you were talking about the project then. So you are at the core of that?
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Why was even there a need for it in the first place?
Well, you see, for me as an Nkrumahist, I would have done anything to get a government that was truly Nkrumahist.
But Limantu lean towards Nkrumah.
But the system is just like now. How can you have an Nkrumahist system in this environment? It's not possible.
Really?
No.
Is it not because the parties are not serious?
I don't think they'll be allowed to, and their orientation is a straitjacket system.
Okay.
Yeah. From the structural adjustment program, from Rollins' time, you can't shift. You are in a straitjacket. And Rollins himself went into it. So, Kwesi Botwe, what did he say? He said, when you are in, when you are not in power, what you see is different from what you see when you are in power. So
President Akufo said a similar thing along the line. Yes.
All right, okay. Yeah. But Kwesi Botwe said it. It's West African Magazine, yeah.
Okay, no, but it's an interesting development because you felt a change in a system for an Nkrumah system to be brought back was the reason why there needed to be a change in government.
That is what was sold to me. Chris, every day is about Nkrumahism.
Okay.
Rollins, the same thing.
Rollins was?
I tell you, I didn't know that he hated Kwame Nkrumah. Rollins fooled everybody. Look, Rollins gave me 3 books of ABC of Socialism.
He gave it to you?
He gave it to me. He gave me those books. And when he met me for the first time, he said, I really respect you. You can see forward. We have to follow Nkrumah. That's what Rollins told me.
So that's where you were interested in helping out?
Yes. Yes.
Was it a difficult task?
To help to bring about the...
Yes, the change.
It was tricky, you see, because at that time, to be honest, we are in an interview and it's for history. Look, I was working for the military intelligence as well at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the honest truth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, in a way, it was a betrayal of the military intelligence by me. You get it? But it was for a greater good, in my view. Yeah. So that's why I did what I did.
And you regretted it?
Yeah, I've regretted it because immediately after we took over, it became clear that Rollins was not Nkrumahist. Because we wanted to go and bring down Kotoka's statue at
the
airport. And Rollins went red. He went red. That the man was a dictator. How can we even think of that? And Kotoka tried to bring democracy, and he was killed, and all kinds of he was just ranting.
He opposed the removal of the Kotoka statue.
Yes, he just ranted. Yeah. You see, so that was the first inkling of the fact that he really did not like Kwame Nkrumah. Later on in interviews, it's in YouTube, you see them, he didn't like Kwame Nkrumah, but he hid that fact from us very well. Yeah.
Now, you divide PNDC into two. You say the first PNDC, and the second PNDC. And the first PNDC was what, 5 months?
I would say 4, because by March, April, you know, they had brought the IMF, JLSAB, Sgt.Akata. They had brought the IMF with one Nankani.
Gobin Nankan.
Yeah, oh, okay. He's an Indian, half Indian, half guy. Yeah. I think he was country director or something. Yeah. They came and presented this IMF, you know, narrative to us at the castle. And, you know, look, at that time, anytime anyone spoke devaluation, it was a red line.
As in CD devaluation?
Yes. It was a red line. You don't go there. So the fact that they were selling it to us, I just raised my hand and I said, is this not the same devaluation that we've been talking about? Then they, you know, he said yes. And they were so casual about it. And Rawlings, he doesn't sit in meetings when these things are discussed. He got up and left the room, you see. He wasn't there. And so Chachu and others chaired the meeting, JLSAB. And that's how the whole thing happened. And that's when the problem started.
So that's how we went into our IMF program under the PNDC?
Yes, from the beginning, yeah. That was the beginning.
This is
these
are the structural adjustment programs?
Yes, that's the beginning.
But
they had sent Chris Atim to Eastern Europe to go and get a package, a kind of barter package, to see whether, because we're actually hard for cash, to be fair. Okay, so it would have taken some bravery and some how do I put it, some strength to be able to resist what the IMF may have been offering them. I wasn't privy to it because I stopped going to those meetings, because I wasn't going to sit in there. Those days, I'm not as relaxed and mature about those things like those days. See, so it was a different matter. I didn't attend those meetings again. But that was the beginning of the end of the PNDC 1. As a team, it was over.
As a team?
Yes, because now...
Because of the IMF?
Yes, because now they will form they had a kitchen cabinet and they'll be attending, and we were no more privy to the meetings.
Oh, okay, so now there was a different PNDC operating...
de facto.
De facto PNDC operating.
A small core.
But some of you still remain members?
Yeah, we're still members. We're still members officially.
But only in the books?
Only in the books. Only in the books.
But what was so offensive about, because, I mean, we've done IMF program before. Proud to that. What was so offensive about an IMF program?
You see, one of the things that we said prior to the revolution was Jerry Rawlings, now I know that he must have had it from Nankani, you keep mentioning his name correctly.
Gobi Nankani.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gobi.
Yes.
Okay, I'll call him Gobi if you don't mind. Okay, Gobi Nankani.
Yes, Nankani.
Okay. So he must have had it from him with hindsight, because I didn't know that there was that closeness between them or among them. So Rawlings showed us a paper which indicated that Liman was going to devalue the CD to 3 CDs. It was then 1 point something, and he was going to devalue it to 3. And that created chaos in the country. Strikes all over the place. So to see that within 3-4 months, you were going to pursue the same thing when you've overthrown a government, didn't sit well.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not that one hated IMF, but that was not the promise
that you gave the people.
Yes.
And for reason you had removed the government, and you didn't feel that it would have been justified to do the same thing 4 months later.
Yeah.
Even if the economy of the country demanded it.
No, it's a question of perspective.
Okay.
You see, because IMF...
Do you still think that you would have opposed, mindful of what has happened with the IMF over the years, IMF at the time?
Yes.
Really?
Even right now, I will.
You still do so? What will be the argument for it?
Well, I just don't think that with our resources, we should be going to borrow. We've got too much money. And I'm not saying it. It was Akufo-Addo who said it. You know, we're so rich in this country that if we harness our resources properly, mobilize the youth, we should be able to do so much without having to go and borrow. You see, our main problem is that we are spending more than we are earning.
We are living beyond our means.
Yes. So, a president should be prepared to face the people and tell them that, look, this is the case. We are going to cut our quote according to our size. And then if you start spending on frivolous things, yeah, like Article 71, officer ex gratia, every 4 months, very expensive vehicles that are meant to last 20 years. They change them every 4 years. If you change that, that money can plug a hole that you not go and borrow money.
I see. Now, beyond some of these things, I mean, the happenings of the PNDC, there was a seminar one. I'm talking about the abduction and murder of the judges. You were on the list of 10, but you were saved.
A list of 10?
Yes.
Yeah, I was saved.
Yes, you were saved and was not prosecuted for it.
Okay. The Attorney General, for the record, said he could not prosecute me successfully because the evidence was not there.
Yeah.
That is what
his white paper indicated that.
Yeah, that he couldn't. And that is the... You are a lawyer. So, but, you know, I understand where you are coming from. It's true. And I would have wished that I was put on trial and acquitted.
Really?
Yeah. I would have been acquitted. Because you see, I haven't seen the report
of the Attorney General.
No, the
SIB report.
SIB report.
Oh, really? Still?
Yes. No, I told you last time, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. You've not seen it still?
Now, when I was in prison, someone did smuggle a copy to me. But you know, when you're in prison and you're reading, it's not something that I could hide under my bed. I didn't want to get anybody in trouble. Yeah. So I read it and then I gave it out. But if I remember, what America said, about me, that brought me into this trouble, was that, you can look it up if you got it.
No, I get you.
Was that Amatekwe and I called him and told him to stand by for an operation. So later on, when Amatekwe came and called him and directed him, he believed that that was the operation that we had asked him to stand by for. That is
okay.
That is what it is. Yeah, as far as I understand it, that's what America said about my involvement. Should I say it again?
No, I get you 100%.
Yeah.
But now you are 68.
Yeah.
Were you truly not involved?
Look, listen, if I wanted to, by the way, I never knew those judges, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't know
but
that.
It didn't matter.
Yeah, no, I was in Cape Coast. Yeah, I was in Cape Coast. I don't want, I'm laughing because it's funny. Yeah, it's funny. But it's not because the deaths are funny. It's a serious matter. Yeah. And it changed my life.
How?
Well, it is the reason why I was arrested.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the reason. It's the only reason. When I went into prison, I was never questioned. They never
about
questioned
it?
Well, about the matter of the judges.
But if you
no, I was questioned by the NIB. Is it NIB? Yeah, NIB. But they didn't arrest me.
The SIB.
The SIB did not arrest me.
The investigative board.
Yes, they didn't arrest me. They arrested Amatekwe.
Okay.
The people who arrested me was Rawlings.
Okay.
Yeah, and his friends who arrested me because they said I was demanding the release of Chris and Adabuga, whom we believed had been arrested. So the thing was that it was mutiny, you see. So that's why I was arrested on 30th November. Okay. I was not arrested because of the murder of the judges.
Or any sort of correlation with that, because the AG at the time had actually cleared you.
Yeah, I wasn't arrested because of that. But when I was in there, the SIB took the opportunity to question me. When I got there, the SIB, they were shocked because they thought I knew a lot. So they said to me, you see, if you speak the truth, You could be out of this place. Do you like being in prison?
Mm-hmm.
if you talk the truth, you know, things could happen and then you'll be out. You see, and when they were not getting it from me, the judge, I think is the, I keep getting confused between the Azul crabs. I think there are two of them, isn't it?
Yes,
I think
yes,
this is the VCRC or...
No, Justice Crab, yeah.
Justice Crab, not the VC...
No.
Which of is the Justice
one,
Crab?
yes.
Yeah, he was so angry. You know, because he was disappointed that I had very little to give him, you see. So, look, back to your question, I am telling you 1,000% that I wasn't involved. I had no motive. I didn't know them. I didn't know them. I did not even know that they were involved in trying in the Rawlings property and you know, confiscation and things like that. I was busy in Cape Coast. I did not have a clue. I didn't know them.
Those people still point fingers at you?
About the murder of the judges?
Yes.
No, when I was in prison, one of the children of the murdered judges actually went to my wife and told my wife that she wanted to see me in prison. Okay. She came down and she told me, don't worry, we know that you are not involved.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, whilst I was in prison.
Now, do you think we have learned lessons from that period?
I think that we haven't. I
Really?
don't think, yes. Because you see, Rawlings himself said that things had become multiple-fold worse than it was before 79. If you listen to Rawlings in his last speech, June 4th, you hear him say, Ahmed was a good person, they should name some road after him. I don't know whether you listen to
Yes, yeah.
See, that tells you he regretted it. He denied, he shifted the death of Afrifa onto Amidu. He didn't want to take responsibility for it. You get it? So it doesn't make sense for you to not have some regrets about it.
When you hear people say that, oh, we need a reset of a country, and that this constitution or this democracy is not working, what comes to mind?
To be honest with you, the politicians, I don't know whether because many of them are young, you see, they seem not to have known what happened in June 4th. You see, June 4th, the only problem with it was how people turned out later. But the concept itself, 1,000,000% correct. Because you cannot go on rampant corruption as if there is no tomorrow. You know, and ordinary people are suffering and you don't care. People are dying of no money for dialysis. And then you are driving a V8 happily and you have a second one for your relatives or whatever, and you are using Get Fund and basically state capture. How can that be? So it's just a question of time. It's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. I hope that when it does happen, the result, the people do not behave the way Rawlings and co behaved in the long run.
When you say it's going to happen again, what do you mean?
I mean, it probably will not be in my lifetime. Yeah. But there's going to be an explosion. I just can feel it.
In this country?
Yeah. Personally.
In a democracy that's thriving for more than three decades. In
a democracy. Look, you see, some of the intemperate language also of the politicians who doesn't help. You have, if you don't mind me saying it, you have the president saying that he will not hand over.
No, he said he will not hand over to his opponent because he will destroy his records.
That's what I mean, yeah.
But that's political talk, don't you think?
Oh, is it political talk?
You don't
Well,
think so?
You don't crack jokes if you're a president. Is it also a cracking of the joke when he says that he will do everything within his power to make sure that Bawumia wins? And you are a very powerful person.
But that's a legitimate talk from somebody who has a role to play in his party. That's from which perspective you're speaking?
No.
I'm saying these are not enough to
No.
say.
Well, no, I'm just telling you that when you say this sort of thing, and then it turns out that you don't really hand over, Do you get what I'm saying? Let's say that, let's say that legitimately Bawumia wins. Wouldn't people refer to that?
Oh, I get your point you're making.
You understand?
That's not kind of language the president should be using.
Exactly.
I get your point.
It doesn't help. And one of his ministers also said a similar thing.
Yes. Well, he says because they are working very hard to deprive them of it.
Well, did he say that at the time?
No, it's justification subsequently.
You see, so basically what I'm saying is, if you want this democracy to last, yeah, you want the middle class to continue enjoying the honeypot that they've got from the 1992 Constitution, then bring some decency into your behavior. Otherwise, you hasten is fall.
Sgt.Akata Pore.
Yeah.
Many thanks to you.
Thank you.
Folks, that's where we end the first part of this conversation.